See, we're doing this as a team today, our CTC. So I'm Aaron. I will help with technology, and I also help with an introductory guided meditation. And today we are want to hold space together to. I think I will let maybe I will let Ivan and Maíra introduce our topic for today. Would you like to say anything about that now, or no? I can. I just want to maybe take a minute to introduce them first. That's okay. So I'm going to introduce Maíra first. Maíra Fernandes de Melo. Hope I'm pronouncing okay. It is a journalist, scholar, poet, and activist, and Order of Interbeing Aspirant, working on building bridges towards a free existence for all beings and burning the ones of systemic oppression that systemic oppression has built. Born in the lands of, I will not say it right, but Tupinambás, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. She grew up surrounded by the waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the mountains of the Atlantic forest. She also has lived in Argentina, land of Guaraníes, the dense stream of Paraná River embracing her body. Living in the global south, she has witnessed all sorts of social, racial, and environmental injustice. Maíra has indigenous Portuguara and Puri and European, Portuguese, and Spanish human ancestors, and is the daughter of Oxóssi, Orisha, of Horus, and Brazilian Candomblé. She received the 5 mindfulness training name Engaged Serenity of the Heart and dwells happily in hammocks and jabuticaba trees. There's a picture. I know that's not a. I'm not sure. So apologies for pronunciation. Thanks for being here, Maíra. It's a gift. And I would like to introduce Ivan, who's also with us. And Ivan is, I'll read in first person. I am an individual. Just read. Maybe I'll change that tense. As in someone who practices and constantly trying to grow and learn to bring equal opportunities for all beings through direct action, and is focusing on how to improve infant and children's health. Ivan was born in the land of the Mexicas, previously known as Tenochtitlan, now known as Mexico City, growing up in the largest city in the world, surrounded by volcanoes, mountains, forests, a city built on top of a lake bed, where pre-Hispanic culture is intermixed, creating a unique identity and odd relationship to nature among individuals from different ancestral backgrounds. He has Native American, Spanish, German, Belgian ancestral roots, providing some privilege and some discrimination in different spaces. He loves connecting with all beings, human and non-human, and is energized by others and strives to recognize the value in all beings. One of his deepest aspirations is to have a daily practice of interbeing, so his actions may manifest true love. Thank you, Ivan, for being with us today. Wonderful. So, an invitation for us starting today off with some practice time for meditation. Do just a very brief guided meditation with a little bit of silence at the end, just to, I think already for me, listening to the words that Maíra and Ivan have put down is kind of opening my heart already naturally to be in touch with ancestors and roots of privilege as well as oppression in myself. And that's very interesting to touch. I'd like to ground us in some breathing and body awareness. So just an invitation to find your center, find your space. Notice how your body is positioned and in space right now in relationship to Mother Earth, sitting or in some other position, finding the contact, finding the support of Mother Earth under us, finding our breath, if that's an anchor for us, a resource. And listen to 3 sounds of the bell together. So, dear Sangha, this morning is an invitation into breath and practice and awareness, an invitation to be curious and opening our awareness, noticing our breath and its rhythm, maybe our heartbeat, our life energy, noticing our body, any sensations of aliveness that we can touch in the body, something grounded, soothing, maybe the feet on the ground, maybe the hands holding, and an invitation to expansion and movement, allowing things to move through us, or to allow our bodies to move even if they need to, and in that way touching some freedom to be, the freedom to be as we are in this moment, with these bodies as they are. Taking some breaths with that, noticing what we're bringing to the space, what we have carried with us from earlier in the morning or from just the moments that have been leading up to this one. We can take some breaths with all of that for a moment. Taking a moment to notice also what's alive in our feelings, our emotional space, welcoming that, noticing different threads, what we are carrying in, and also what might be alive in our consciousness, our mind consciousness, what is active, what we have thought of, what is passing through us like clouds, letting these things move around like clouds. They want to, just noticing, being curious. And last, just an invitation to be curious about our ancestors. So this is what came up for me. So just invite you, if it resonates, getting in touch with the ancestors, blood, land, and spiritual ancestors living within our body, our consciousness. Just taking a moment to touch those different threads as we feel called. Thank you, dear friends. Always a treat to be on the Earth Holder call once a month with you. And I'm learning slowly how to help coordinate the calls with our facilitators, but I'm really happy to have Yvonne and Maíra here. We work together on the CTC, so I'm gonna hand it over to you both.
Ivan in. Hello, dear friends, your Sangha, the teachers. Just wanting to check in with Maíra. Do you have a preference for going first or sharing first? All right. All right. Well, today might be a bit of a unstructured conversation. We wanted to share our thoughts as holders, CTC members around a topic, general topic, and which is, we mentioned around our ancestry and diversity and privileges and oppression, and I would call it multiple identities that we may hold as individuals that might sometimes take us to separation. So we have this idea of covering something around, power, oppression, diversity, peace. It's bringing awareness for me, to what is happening right now in my field of awareness in the world. We're being witness of different conflicts in our planet, different human conflicts that have been caused for many different reasons, and it's not the purpose to look into what has caused these conflicts right now. Rather, for me, it's like, well, what is coming into my field of awareness? What is coming into my different consciousnesses, my 8 different consciousness, my different senses, my soul consciousness, my mind consciousness, my ego consciousness, my manas, what is being watered? And how do I approach that? Not just as a human, but as it holders. Well, we think about it as a general, right? Like, what are also other beings experiencing? What are we causing to those other beings that coexist and co-inhabit this planet? And I'm not talking just about animals, right? There's plants, there's the clouds that are being affected by all of these things that are coming up in the world, which is the same air that we breathe. And so, what are we intaking? And something that I always go back to with this and my own awareness of my practice is the 11th and the 12th mindfulness training out of the 14, and which covers reverence for life and right livelihood. And I might just copy and paste here in the chat that specific training so we can all be under the same page. Sorry, and I wanted to add, for example, for me, I'm wearing today my brown robe, and I think it's maybe the first time I worn it in public after receiving the 14 mindfulness training, but I wanted to bring awareness to my positional power of being an OI member. Because that's where, for me, things start, like understanding what are my, what different identities and what different privileges or powers do I hold? Because it is a difference to be an OI member than not. It does convey, it's different to be a Dharma teacher than to be an OI member, than to be a monk or a nun. There are certain positional powers here that create different power dynamics and differentials. Just like in nature, just like as humans, we create an embedded power dynamic with other animals. So we think, because we're able to create tools, we're able to come up with ways of controlling nature or being dominant over it. So for me, it's very important to bring that up into my own awareness of like, well, what am I holding? What positional powers am I holding? What oppression may I be bringing? Not because of an intentional action, but just because it's sometimes embedded in our livelihood. And there's sometimes for me that, yes, as human, well, we are omnivores. Or some of us choose to be vegetarian. Some of us choose to be vegan. I choose to be omnivore because of my health, and I need to kill to survive, just like other animals need to do it. So there's also an embedded, just innate survival aspect of all of this. So how do I relate to that? How do I relate to that killing, to that perhaps could be seen a form of oppression over other beings, because I have a different positional power over all of them, which I can grow plants and kill them. I can have animals and kill them to satisfy my needs of being alive. So I've been taking refuge in this training, and now I'll just read it. Aware that much suffering is caused by war and conflict, we are determined to cultivate nonviolence, compassion, and the insight of inner being in our daily lives, and promote peace, education, mindful meditation, and reconciliation within families, communities, ethnic and religious groups, nations, and in the world. We are committed not to kill and not to let others kill. We will not support any act of killing in the world, in our thinking, or in our way of life. We will diligently practice deep looking with our Sangha to discover better ways to protect life, prevent war, and build peace. I'll just briefly, again, retake to what I started with. Like, there's sometimes that I kill, and it's not with the intention to hurt. It's not with the intention to separate myself from others. It's not with the intention to prove myself having something better or owning something. It's just I need to survive, and I don't need to. And it is an act of killing that we're performing in my perception. So I first want to. I have been practicing to reconciliate with myself in that sense, and specifically because I do eat meat, animal meat. I eat bison, I eat yak, I eat rabbit, I eat lamb in my regular diet. All these beautiful beings that are actually around me, and I have had to reconciliate that because of my health needs. I had to go that route. Or I chose to. I chose to because it makes me feel bad if I eat just other sources of foods and edibles. First of all, reconciliation of that act of killing for my survival. And then I was able to then abstract that to, well, what other acts have I been contributing in my thoughts, in my consumptions, to killing for non-survival? And what have I not acted upon when I see other people killing? I mentioned my background. I grew up in Mexico, and there's a lot of violence there. And in some ways, it is for survival. In some ways, it is that people do kill or cause harm to others because they do want to survive, because there's poverty, because there's no equity, because they have been oppressed. Like right now on the southeast coast of Mexico, there's a whole ecocide to build a train to bring more tourism into the country. And there's so much oppression to native people that rely on the land to live. For years, they didn't need anything else. They didn't work as we know it. They had their piece of land where they were in communion with sources of ancestral water and edible native plants. And that was their life. And now, because of changes, and for me, it's an unmindful decision and oppressed because they don't speak Spanish. They weren't even able to speak up to what was happening. They were having gatherings in Spanish, but they didn't have translators into Maya or Nahuatl, or so. That's the oppositional power of having a specific education and power of the government to oppress and to go away with their means of wanting to bring certain specific things that they thought is better. So there's, I'm going in different places, but it means it's all interrelated, right? So now what will these people do if they don't have training into our modern world in which you need to have education? They didn't have the privilege to have schools, or they didn't choose to, even because they didn't want to learn the ways of the modern society because they're just happy with their ways of being. But now we have forced them through our positional powers to adapt to our ways of living and go in different ways. what they're used to. So that in itself is a killing. It's a killing of a culture. It's a killing of a way of living. It's a killing of connecting to the land, which is a killing of the soul for me. Is that connection? It's killing that connection that some people still keep to the earth being, right? To just knowing that you can be with the earth in your ways of being in your normal life, and I didn't speak up to that. I consider myself sometimes an activist, but I also know that if I go and protest, I'll be killed. So right now, I'm in a very, I don't know what to do with that, and I turn back to this training to find ways to engage with it. And I think at least with my thoughts, I can try to support not killing it, but then what's next? At least for me, there's like that. What's that engaged practice with this training? But also knowing, well, there's situations I cannot do much. There's situations that I can. But that's how I've been engaging with this training, and not trying to lose myself into depression or what's the word in English? Sorry. You don't have hope. That things can be different. Sometimes I tend to go into that route. So I'm trying to hold myself and to not go into despair. That's the word I'm looking for, into despair. And find a way to practice with this training, and and see also which ways am I in exerting power and oppression, and instead of bringing diversity, I bring separation with my thoughts, with my act, not just between humans, but with all other beings. So that's what I'm holding with this training and around this topic. Now I'll stop there and pause, because also I'm about to cry and I don't want to get there right now. So thank you for listening, and also I'll pass it on to Maria, but also wanting to share that we would like to hear from you also what you're thinking. This is not a Dharma talk. This is an open space where we're just sharing as the holders what we're thinking, and as CTC, and how we can think about this topic around ourselves. So we will also like to hear from you today. Paya, and passing it to Maíra.
Dear Tai, dear Sister Changhong, dear Sangha, dear friends, dear Aaron and Ivan, and dear beloved Earth Holder community, I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Yes, I'll time myself, because some of you know that I can go forever. So, actually, this proposition of this call started when we were in a CTC meeting, and we started thinking of how we as the holders could or should or approach the war in the Middle East. And then we kind of shared each of our own perspectives, and it got very clear that we had different perspectives due to the different positions we had, and the possibility of a human being that is not enlightened to not see everything, to just see some parts of the truth. So at the end, it got clear that we had to talk not about war, but about peace. And so we are not here to talk about any specific war. Each one of us have our own more painful wars, but put it like that, but we are trying to propose this, how we talk about peace, and how do we think of peace, and I think that's the challenge, not as the absence of conflict, because actually it's there in the first sentence of the training, where the suffering caused by war and conflict. But peace is not the absence of conflict. The absence of conflict is authoritarianism. It's fascism. It's one way only. Peace is the ability, or at least the way my own perception sees it, of holding diversity without war. So how do we improve in ourselves our skills of holding the discomfort of diversity without wanting to kill the other? Because it's very nice to think of diversity when you think of I don't know, of how beautiful it is to interbe with trees or with the birds or with all beautiful things, but not that beautiful to interbe with the ones pressing the trigger or pulling the trigger or pressing the buttons or making the rules, the laws we don't agree with. So how to be in peace with those kind of conflicts, first in myself, to be able to offer this to the world. So and well, I will talk to some things that Ivan shared. Like we do, some of you know, a lot of social work with mindfulness here in Brazil. My partner in not in crime, but in revolution is there somewhere, Gisele and some other friends from Brazil too. And we do a lot of work bringing peace education, as it's written in the training, to places that are not beautiful, to places to people that are not in peace and that don't want peace. How to bring mindfulness and peace education to people that are raised in environments that don't allow them to want peace, because well, we know from it's the sixth, I guess it's the sixth of the realizations of the great being, that poverty can lead to violence. So that's very clear in some environments. We've been working with ex-prisoners and people who did a lot of bad things. If we can be dualistic, definitely they are in the bad side of the line. But if we do want, because well, at least that's what I've practiced for, to have a glimpse of right view, to be able to use the cord of wisdom, to be the embodied Manjushri or something like it. How do we understand, and this is getting clear and clear to me, that a lot of times it's been, and I'll say that and I'll probably regret later, but I'll say it, and it's been recorded anyway, but a lot of times it's easier for me to have compassion for the killer, because first there's a lot of people praying for the ones who are being killed, and there's no one or less people praying for the ones that are killing, and they are definitely the ones that need more prayer. So, and at least in my context, their lives have been way worse than the lives of people they kill. Let's put it right. It's pretty simple what I'm talking here. It's reductive, but how do I understand this this dynamic that's always playing, it's always in play, of power and oppression? And how am I sometimes the oppressor, and how am I sometimes the oppressed, and how being the oppressed, it's easier to identify with other oppressed people, let's say it like that, and how being the oppressor is easy to justify myself, because well, you can justify anything, but so how do I practice this being peace in myself and understand when I have the impulse, or the directly from source to consciousness, like to make the other side, let's put it like that, to disappear. I don't want to literally kill them, but I would love that they just disappear, like a miracle. But this is not even the miracle of mind. This is war. So how do I? It's a big challenge, and I have no answer, of course, but that's something I try to practice with. But how to make peace with my oppressor that lives inside me, and how to be diligent with embracing conflict and understanding that it's okay for people to think other things and to believe in other things and to want different things. So, of course, in the global scale, it's harder, but when I'm in my daily life, it's easier to breathe and to cry. Well, I'm a crying person, so for me, it's easier. I cry a lot. So I let also the water to wash away the sorrow and the fire of war, because it's not every fire that is bad, or not every amount of fire. Like, fire is a good thing to cook, to heat, to not freeze, and to melt things that make this computer so I can talk to you. So to have the sword of wisdom to understand what this right view. Thank God, it's finishing. 50 seconds. I'm already done. How to accept that peace is the ability of understanding and living and dealing with conflict, and not the need to banish conflict from reality. This is just not possible. Thank God. Otherwise, everything would be the same. And maybe if I'm in the side that has less power, I'll be crushed. So thank God that we can practice with conflict without, or we can at least try to practice with conflict without wanting to kill the other people, and maybe trying to convince them, but in subtle and gentle ways, and creating community, because that's what Thai taught us, and what attracted me in Plum Village, the encouragement to create communities, and well, we have affinity groups or something, but to be able to be with our own people, let's put it like that, and then to go out in the world and to exchange and to be able to talk and to interact, and then to go back and breathe and planet. I don't know. This is it. Thank you so much for trying to take care of your own wars and to be at peace with your own conflict. And now I will head back to Aaron and we'll go to Dharma sharing group.
Thank you so much, Maíra and Ivan. Very rich sharings. I wanted to know before did you want to have input from the community before Dharma sharing, or would you like to go into the breakout rooms now or soon? It's just a question. I know Ivan mentioned having a conversation here, so I don't know. Just checking. Well, I am.
I run back in. Yeah, not sure how we want to proceed. I always think about a Dharma conversation, right? I've been calling it like that, where we can kind of follow Dharma sharing rules, with the exception of we can reference each other's sharings to engage in a conversation. I don't know if folks would like to do that. I understand Dharma sharing. It serves a great purpose, and for me, it's really nourishing to go into Dharma sharing. But also, I tried Dharma conversations with a couple sanghas where we engage in a mindful conversation where we can go back and forth sharing thoughts or questions, and then we can reply to each other, which is a different way of sharing. And I think in a setup where we are familiar with Dharma sharing, it tends to work, that we can respect each other's thoughts and understanding that it's each of our perceptions, and with not the goal of teaching each other or convincing each other, rather than have a more fluent conversation. So not sure if we want to try that. We didn't plan on what we would do. I think Maíra and I are very fluent with how we go around things. Maybe it's our Latin roots of going with the flow. So it's I don't know what you'll think about engaging in that format, and I can expand on it, or we can go into Dharma sharing. It is a deep topic, so I also understand maybe the need to just have a Dharma sharing. So maybe open to folks to give their input. Feel free to comment in the chat or speak out loud what you would prefer, or I don't know, Maria, Aaron, what do you think about? Yeah, we are 42 people. I only see like 10 people here in my screen, so I'm like, oh yeah, it could be easy.
Oh, is on those.
I think please make a decision. Can we go in breakout rooms? Dharma conversation. Okay, so maybe let's go into breakout rooms and Dharma sharing. I see a bit of comments. Sorry, and Maria, and let me know if you concur with this.
Thank you, dear beloved Sangha, for participating in collective decision making. And it's exactly what our teachers are offering us. Maybe there's some differing needs that each of us have, and we don't have to have a battle over the decision, but we kind of try to take the collective energy and meet the collective need. It doesn't always meet everyone exactly, but we do our best. So welcome back, dear Sangha. I think people have all come back, and we have just like we have a short amount of time. I don't know if there are any concluding words or sharing the merit like things you would like to offer, Ivan or Maíra, at the close here. And then we can do our customary practice of doing outros if people would like to. So, and people may need to leave before, but we can keep it open for a little bit. Would you like to say anything,
Just
Ivan and Maíra?
bowing in. Just wanted to apologize to the PayPal group. And sorry that we didn't have enough time. Keep myself accountable for not having a better facilitation in the timing and to allow others to share. And just want to also name that as facilitators, I think we should be, covering the time and allowing everybody to have their time to share. So just wanted to deeply apologize for that. And I'm hoping we can continue the conversation. We are hoping to have a BIPOC only online Sangha. So just know that there'll be space for that sharing later on. But yeah, I sincerely apologize for that. About that.
Any words you'd like to share?
David, bowing in, David Helga. We had a really great session. They're really terrific people and who shared.
David, I want to give the space to our facilitators right now. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's my.
Oh, you thought I was asking.
I thought we were doing it.
No, not yet. Let our
That's
facilitators.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. Actually, I was just saying that for some of you, I believe it's your first time in a Nurse Holder Sangha meeting. So feel free to email us. I'll put my Aaron or I or Ivan will put the email in the chat so you can join our newsletter and know when we are meeting next. So this is it, just that, and we can do introduction.
Thank you so much. I see Beverly, you have your hand raised. Is this something you could put in the chat? Just so that we have the space, because we have little time, and maybe, yeah, just I want us to just take a moment to take some breaths together and touch some gratitude for whatever sharings we've had as a community and for what has been offered today from our facilitators. Ivan and Maíra, thank you so much for creating this space with us, and thank you all for practicing. Maybe we just take a moment to touch seeds of gratitude for our community, for this practice, and what we have gained, how we have been challenged. Maybe we can even be grateful for that, and then to share that, take a moment to share that gratitude outward towards the communities and the people that we want to extend compassion to, the places at war, maybe, those caught up in killing in varieties of ways within ourselves, that we can extend some compassion. We would like to practice that in our own way, sharing the merit out. Invite one sound of the bell for us.